If you are a married believer trying to navigate this intimacy thing without shame, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because you are in the right place.
You learn so much in school. You learn how to add and subtract and the multiply, but you don't learn how to do relationships.
I say God created marriage for another person to tell you how messed up you are. When a female or a male have a climax, it's like God knew how long to allow it to happen, because if not, your head would explode. You wouldn't be able to handle that.
You can't get to better unless you go through some things to weed out the trouble and the problems and the self in you.
Sometimes you think you're communicating to the person you marry, but you're really communicating with their history.
Ooh, say that again. Most men are just not ready for marriage.
Welcome to the space where we tell our truth. Testimony, healing, breaking shame loose. Learning our bodies and walking by faith. Intimacy God's way, right here is the place. Sex Ed for Saints, Mondays at 6. We believe in the power of the story. Not just pain, but redemption and glory. Faith in the rhythm, hearts in the mix. Trust in educators. Mondays at 6. We're overcoming by the word of these testimonies. People getting free when we speak what's holy. Healing in our hearts, shame starts to split. Every story told, another chain gets stripped. Learning our bodies, learning His way. Intimacy and faith, walking day by day. This is where we heal, where the truth sticks. Sex Ed for Saints, Mondays at 6.
Hey friends, quick pause in this lesson because I need to put you onto something that has been blessing so many households. This episode has been sponsored by Covenant Eyes, the accountability app that helps you protect your eyes, your mind, and your marriage. If you're serious about keeping your digital life pure, guarded, and God-honoring, Covenant Eyes is a game changer. It helps you to stay accountable online and creates a safe space for your heart and your home. And listen, because you are a part of the Marriage Lab, you get 30 days free when you use my code Marriage Lab. So go ahead, take that step, cover your devices, and cover your covenant.
All right, so welcome to another episode of Sex Ed for Saints, y'all. I am excited today because we have on the stream the Love Birds. Listen, I'm so excited. I am so excited. They are marriage professionals, and we are going to, get into them a little bit later. But usually I like to start my episodes with a question from one of my viewers. So if you ever have a question that you would like to ask on the pod, you can go to my link, the Marriage Lab LLC on Instagram. There's a link in my bio. You can hit that link and you can ask your questions anonymously and have your question as an opportunity to be answered by myself and my guests on the episode. And so make sure you do that if you do have questions. Today's topic is going to be conversation, right? We're going to be talking about communication and all of the things. And so one of the questions that I had was, my husband is not much of a talker. We never really talk beyond the surface. Sometimes he makes me feel like I can't talk to him. And I notice that I shut down. Whenever I want to talk about something serious, he always says later, and this bothers me. How do I get him to talk? How do I get him to talk? This is an interesting one because there's a lot of people out there who probably feel the same way. What do we have to say to that, guest?
Good luck. No. You got to get him to understand, why, find out why he's not talking, and get him to understand what it's doing to you, to your lack of intimacy by him not talking. In my experience, most men are talkative. They're just not necessarily talkative in their intimate relationship. They're talkative with their buddies about sports or about gaming or about all these other issues. But when it comes to that relationship, and they probably talked at the beginning of that relationship at some point. That's the only way you were able to draw close enough to get together. But after certain things happen over time, and we build up these belief systems and these insecurities and all these things kick in, then we don't feel comfortable talking or sharing, with our spouse or intimate partner, because we feel like what's going to be shared coming back is going to be damaging to us. Newsflash: men have very fragile egos. We just do. Our egos are like an egg. You just crack it, and if you can get that man if you can pump that man up and make him feel good about the things that he does well and about the good things about him, And then when you want to talk to him, not, make it seem like you're just coming down on him, then more than likely he'll talk and he'll share. But I know she'll have, some more to say on that as well.
Yeah, coming from a female perspective, that's why I love what we do, because we do it together and you always get both perspectives. And I'm coming from a woman's perspective always, and I come pretty raw. I'm just like, what did you sign up for? And so, like, in this relationship, there's two people that must communicate. And you don't get to decide that you no longer want to. And that's what we think is okay, that I decided that I didn't. Marriage is one, and you don't get to not talk to yourself. You see, you don't get to not talk to yourself. And so when I think about that, it goes a little deeper, because I don't know the relationship of the person who asked that. I don't know how she talks to her husband. I don't know if she comes off not feminine. You see what I'm saying? I'm not sure, because that's one of the greatest turnoffs, is when you're hard and harsh and you don't act like a lady. And so I don't know the whole dynamics of that relationship, but all I do know is that a man will shut down and stop talking to you the moment that he feel threatened or feel like you're overbearing, or if he share things with you that are intimate and you share it or bring it back up or put it in his face, he's done. And so it's such a wide scope to this thing, you see? Yeah. And so it's bigger than just, he don't want to talk right now, or he just don't communicate and he sits to himself. What happened? Because why did you marry him if that's what he was doing to you in the beginning?
Absolutely.
You see? So yeah.
And let me say this, Coach Tammy, how you can jump in, steer this however you want to go, because, this is what we do. We've been doing this for over 35 years. And so we can talk about any particular subject. And so since this is a lab, a marriage lab, let's get here and let's break some things down and work on some things here. And so the fact that I would not want to communicate or not feel comfortable communicating with my spouse, it really centers back in on how I feel about myself, or how I feel about how this communication might go. And now I'm going to talk to you about how probably it is with most couples, but off the bat, let me give you some solution.
Yeah.
If you're married, then marriage was originally made for believers, because believers follow God's way. And if we follow God's way, then his ways work. Love never fails. And so as a believer, then my life is not about me. It's not about how I feel and how you make me feel. It's about loving God and loving others. And the first person I love is her. And so if it's not about me, then she can't hurt my feelings how she talks to me. She can't fragile my ego with how she talks to me. Now, those things can only happen if it's about me. And so when I die to myself or deny myself, pick up my cross daily and follow him, then, I can have any discussion with her, and it can be a healthy discussion. Now that's solution. But now let's back up and get into where most men are and most people are. And listen, I said that real smooth and real easily because I'm here now, but that ain't where I've always been.
Yeah.
That ain't where brother always been.
Y'all talking good. We ain't even start yet, and y'all talking so good. I love it. Listen, before we do get into the episode, tell my audience a little bit about who it is that you are.
Cool. You want to tell them?
Well, I'm Dr. Angel Byrd.
And I'm Dr. James Byrd. And together we are the Love Birds.
I love it.
Yes. So we've been doing marriage and family for almost about 30 years, because we've been married 34 years together, 38 years. And so we've been on this journey for relationships forever. We have several books in the bookstore, was on the radio for 8 years. We have 3 adult children, and we breathe, we sleep, and we do relationships. And that's what the world knows us as relationship experts, or the Lovebirds, in our Next Level Marriage podcast. And so we're so excited about that. But and I tolerate him.
Absolutely. Let me say something funny about the intro she just gave on us. She said we have 3 adult children. That we do. We've been married for 34 years, and none of our children are married. So on the surface, you might look and say, well, dang, y'all married people, y'all the lovebirds. Why ain't y'all children married? And it's actually not because they saw something that they didn't like and didn't want to get married. It's because what they saw in us, it made it difficult for them to find partners. And so, or I'm sorry, spouses. Gotta be careful saying that word. Something else. My daughters, they try to compare a man to me, and my son trying to compare, a woman to his mother. And so we've actually made it difficult for them to find spouses. So that's just kind of funny thing.
Yeah. I understand that because, y'all set a level of expectation up here and they want to meet that because they see how good it is. They see how good it is. And I tell you, when you do find somebody who you can meet that expectation with, the marriage is beautiful, but it is hard. It is hard. I am not one for these dating streets out here, so I don't even understand the struggle. I don't want to be in it. It's ghetto.
All the above.
I hear my friends all the time, my single friends, they are struggling. So I definitely understand. But listen, y'all, I'm excited to get into this episode because last week I put up a post on my social media and it went viral. And the reason is because it was a gentleman who was on there. And it was a remix that I did from another video where he was talking about, he always answers the call when his girlfriend calls him. I don't know if it's girlfriend or wife or whatever, but he always answers the call. And his friend was like, you always pick up the phone. He's like, yeah, because who else she gonna call, And what that basically said, because I think it had like over 30,000 comments with just women saying, I wish this type of love finds me, right? And what it basically says is that, he has created a safe space for her to be able to communicate with him regardless of what he has going on. And so I want to start with that because how important is it to create a safe space for somebody to be able to communicate with you so that the levels of communication can even be grounded?
I just think whoever that was, I think he's a smart man. Let's start there because the very thing that men try not to do is the very thing that will keep their relationship together. While they're saying, dang, she calling me again. Dang, I ain't answering this time, is the very thing that's separating the relationship and the connection that she's looking for. I mean, yes, we always have cases of people who are just possessive and do things that they shouldn't do. But on the norm, if he shows up and he's present and he's there, the safest place is in that position because I know that he will be there. And so many times men do the opposite of that. And then she feels disconnected. And then you start saying she's murmuring, complaining, and she's, coming at me like this. No, what she's trying to do is get your attention because you're not willing to give it freely. And so many times that the very thing that she needs, that she wants, that she desires, and that she was created to get, you're not giving. And so I really think so many men go into these relationships with the visual effect. They go in with the visual effect. And then when they get in the relationship, they don't even know what they signed up for. It's like, oh, so I'm supposed to talk? Oh, I'm supposed to answer your call? Oh, it's like you just totally forgot what you were supposed to bring to the table. Yeah. And so I just crack up because most men who enter into a marriage relationship or a relationship to get married, they don't even know their role.
Yeah.
And they cause more damage because, first of all, you are the foundation. You are the temperature gauge. And the Bible even says that the woman is the weaker vessel. You show up talking about we're your part. What you bring it to the table. Why men saying that now? Where they get that from?
Yeah.
So it's a whole nother world, like you said, out there.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I agree 100%. I got married. When I got married, I absolutely had no clue on what I was doing. All I knew is that I loved her and I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. And I had no idea on the amount of selflessness
and work
that would entail.
Yeah.
Most men are just not ready for marriage because we really just want somebody. We really want a woman to come alongside of us and help us in certain areas. Give us legal and moral sex. If we don't cook, maybe she cooks. If we only make this amount, maybe she adds to it by what she makes. I mean, all these crazy things. We're not ready to come and leave and cleave and make this one new entity that becomes one, unified in everything. We see people that still got separate everything. They're separate thoughts, separate bank accounts, separate bedrooms. They watch separate TVs. Everything about the marriage is separate, or everything about the relationship is separate. And that's not what it's about. And so I'm not coming down on any men that would be watching this, or any ladies that would show this to you, man. I'm just telling you, man, there is a better way. You just have to learn from people who are a little wiser, a little more seasoned, and to let you know that, man, you gotta give up the I for the we. And it seems like difficult because you're thinking about yourself all the time. Like, what am I gonna miss out? And that seems difficult. But just like anything that's difficult, it brings great rewards. When you lift weights, if you lift weights consistently, it's hard, but it brings great rewards. Don't you see these guns I got?
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I love that. Because I'm thinking about it, and I'm not just saying women just go through a lot of things, but there are a lot of women, especially today. You spoke about it earlier, where many women are wearing like their masculine, right? You spoke about it a little bit. And sometimes when they are in their careers and they're doing things and they're going out and all the things, and they come home and they want to be able to let all of that go and be the wife to their spouse, but they have to be able to create that safety space in order for them to, allow them to feel safe enough to communicate so that they can let the guards down, and I can see that with myself too sometimes, because with me and my husband, I do a lot. I wear a lot of hats outside of the home. And when I come home, like, who else can I ask the dumb question to, right? Because I can't ask it in public all the time. I got to ask you, so but we have that relationship where, I can come to him and ask him for, anything, or talk about anything and all of that. And so, but it allows you to feel safe and vulnerable to be able, and it makes communication easy. But one of the things that I do realize is that, a lot of people, they're not taught how to communicate well. And so sometimes they don't even realize that they're not communicating the right way. So how can someone understand, how to relate and correspond in communication with each other when they don't even know, or they haven't been taught how to communicate well?
I love that. Love that question. And I learned some things even more recently. A lot of times, well, let's say this: communication is not really good or effective communication unless the two people that are communicating on the same page, on the same wavelength, and they're meeting one another. And so oftentimes with male and female communication, we're missing one another because, let's say, she may be communicating about something from an emotional standpoint, and we're communicating on it from a factual standpoint. And so she's talking about how she feels, and we're giving facts, about things. Or she wants to talk and wants you just to listen, and she wants to just unload on her day, and we're like, well, why didn't you do this? Or you should have did. So here we are trying to fix it. That's Zoom. We're missing each other. So we have to learn to figure out how are we communicating in what we're talking about right now, babe. Do you want to be heard? Do you want to be helped? Do you want to be hugged? Like, what do you want? Like, let's figure each other out.
And it came to that point where let me make sure which one.
And that seems really mechanical in a way. But I tell you what, if we get on the same page, get the mechanics out in the beginning, get on the same page, now that communication is going to really flow really well. I can't tell you how many times that we've been communicating about something, and just right in the middle of it, I think I'm engaged, and right in the middle of it, my wife says, I'll talk to somebody else. That means I just totally was missing, what signal she was sending out or whatever. So we have to get on the same page and be communicating in the same way and on the same way, because if two humans are effectively communicating about the same thing in the same way, that is actually going to draw intimacy into that relationship. I don't care who it is. It could be your BFF. If y'all communicating about the same thing in the same way, it's going to draw y'all closer to one another. But oftentimes in these relationships, we go to communicate and it starts a war. It actually causes distance in the relationship.
Yeah. And then I would say that sometimes you think you're communicating to the person you marry, but you're really communicating with their history.
Ooh, say that again. What? Oh, break that down. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm like, hold on, wait.
I'm sorry. My lane.
I dissect that.
Break that down.
No, really, because I want to do a movie or play one day, because when that woman is walking down that aisle, and the people in the audience see the trash on her wedding dress, but the man that's waiting on her don't see none of it. And then she's heading to that altar and she don't see that she's not marrying Bob. She is marrying history. And that's why I always said there's no such thing as a marriage problem. There's a history problem. And so is he hearing your communication from his brokenness, his wounds, from his trauma, from the things he's not dealt with? And so think we're communicating effectively, but we're really communicating with all of these broken pieces that they're hearing. I mean, it's like 10 people, you line them up, like we always say. I whisper in each one of their ears, say the same thing, but each one of them are going to say something different based on how they transmitted what I said, based on their identity, how they see themselves, how they feel about themselves. So many times we're getting divorces and wondering why I can no longer communicate with this person, because you don't even know who you're communicating with. And you think you're communicating with the man you fell in love with, but you fell in love with his history as well. It's a whole package. And until we understand, how did you hear it that way? Why did you say that back to me that way? That is not what I said. That thing is a big thing. It's not what I said. Yes, it is. That is what you said. Why? Because that's how they heard it. Yeah. Based on how they are broken, wounded, and needed to be healed. And so sometimes in those situations, they need to get counseling. They need to be able to be honest, to be able to say what happened or get the help they need. This would be like what you would call a hamster wheel, where you're constantly on this wheel and you can never get off. You're just going to cycle, and you're going to cycle forever, because nobody's growing up. Nobody is doing the work. That's what I always say. Do the work. What book? All these married people, what book have you read? Yeah. What have you watched? So they're not even getting tools to be able to get better in that area.
I love that. I love that, because it highlights, that communication, it goes way beyond, what you think it would. And you mentioned, you're marrying history, you're marrying, the issues, the brokenness, all of that. So how do you get to a level where you can understand, okay, how do I deal with the things of the history so that we can move in sync for our future when we do come together and begin to communicate well? Like how does that work?
Well,
does that make sense? My question.
It does. Yes. It does. I believe anybody that, this is just my personal opinion, if you never know God or the love of God, I don't think it's possible. Mm-hmm. Because that's where love comes from. That's who teach you what love looks like. And if you don't adopt those principles, then I don't think it can happen. But if you do, then it's something about connecting to that makes you want to do better and become better. And so the closer that I got to God, the more that I wanted to do the work. And so, I showed up in this relationship and I was just like, whoa, we got married 23 years old. Broken pieces is an understatement.
You was 23. You were older than me.
Whatever. This is his favorite thing to say. And so when you showed up that way, I watched my father and I watched how he treated my mom. And I was like, my personality was like, I bet you that'll never happen to me. And so you already show up with guards up. You already showed up looking for that thing. Yeah. And you don't even know it. And then the closer that I got to God, the more he revealed to me what I was doing, how I literally had these walls up, and you put your own self in your own prison cage. You got the key to get out, but you got yourself locked up. And so as I did the work and that was revealed, I started tearing down those walls. And because he had never done anything to me, but I was treating him as if he did based on my father and where I came from. And so I believe that the work must start first with your relationship with God.
And let's talk about the work. Starts with the Bible, and there's so much work you can do with it. You can get counseling.
Yeah.
And I would recommend from biblical therapists, Christian counseling over anything, but you can get counseling. You can read books that specifically talk about the things that you struggle with, whether it's communication, whatever the case may be. I used to, when I was young and we first got started in this thing, I used to listen to this program on the radio driving to work every day. I know not many people listen to the radio anymore, but back then I used to listen to the radio, and I listened to Focus on the Family, and they give all these great insights and helps, and all these authors and things would come up, and I hear a great topic, I'd go get their book and I'd read their book. And so every time you're reading something, you're educating yourself. And listen, people, we're changing. What they say, every several years, we're just changing, we're evolving, we're adapting. And so why don't you be your change agent and make sure you're changing and adapting in a way that's going to benefit your relationship, benefit yourself, instead of just letting social media and barbershop talk and beauty shop talk and lunchroom table chat change you in a negative way. You focus and intentionally make sure that you're changing yourself in the direction that you want to go, which is helpful for your relationship.
Yeah.
I love that because go on.
I said relationship is one of the biggest topics in the world. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, so many people want it, but don't want to do the work to keep it or to get it. Yeah. It blows my mind of what they say they want, but they're not willing to change.
Yeah. And here's another big thing we talk about as it relates to relationships being such this big part of life. We go from birth to teenager to adolescent to 21, and we're never educated on it. Ever. You figure it out for yourself. And that's why most people crash and burn multiple times for it. And eventually at some point they try to start getting some help with it. But just think about it. You learn so much in school. You learn how to add and subtract and the multiply, but you don't learn how to do relationships.
Yeah.
You're just watching and observing from an immature mind, an immature brain, which usually grabs a hold to the trauma and grabs a hold to the things it doesn't like and starts making vows and say, I ain't never gonna do that. I bet you ain't gonna let nobody do that to me. I bet, or this is how my family do. We just argue and fuss and talk all the time. So that's what I do. My family, we just shut down, and that's what I do. And so now we just adopt that into our relationships, and that's not the way it needs to go. So since we're not trained, how about we get intentional and help train, get ourselves trained?
Yeah, I love that because, over time, we're just building perspective and applying that to, our lives when we do come together. And you said something very interesting in the beginning. Well, not interesting, facts, is that when we get married, marriage is a biblical institution. It's a godly institution. And a lot of us are getting married without the biblical foundation to even be able to recognize when we're not even communicating well. We're not even we're not even able to recognize the issues that we have. We're not able to recognize the things that's going on. You said something else very valuable is you put in the work for yourself and you started doing things. Yeah. And so how important is it for someone to be able to work on themselves? And also how important is it for them to get biblically grounded so that they can understand that God is going to reveal to them the issues that they need to work on?
I believe it first starts with a desire, because if you don't have a desire for God or to do the work, let's just end it. You see, because you're going to not make it. And so, but if you have a desire for both, then it's going to drive you through obedience to be able to make those changes. Because in the world we're living in today, if you have a man that's not physically and verbally abusive and he's not stepping out on you, all the rest of that stuff can get fixed. Quit trying to throw people back, because what you're going to get in these days is going to be far worse than what you maybe already have. It's just like, let's start over. We're so quick, like social media in that time span. That was enough. Push the button. Let me get a new one. And it's like, no, if you've been in a relationship, decide that this is what God gave you and appreciate it. And then say, I want to make this last. I don't want a marriage like hell on earth. I want it to be like heaven on earth. So that requires for you, let's quit talking about the other person for a minute. It requires me to change. It requires for me to do things that are uncomfortable. All of that needs to happen for an individual, because when we go to the gate to get into heaven, I can't take him with me. He've had to do the work to get there on his own, right? Yeah. And so in this relationship, there's two people that's supposed to become one. Can we like just separate for a minute and go do the work and then come back to that healthy place? And so that's what I think we need to do.
I love that. Because it highlights that even if you are in a situation that's not the best, the way to make it better is to think about the covenant of marriage.
Yes.
And when you think about the covenant, you're not thinking temporary, you're thinking long-term, you're thinking, what do I need to do, God, to make this better? And God will allow you, like he'll feed you the information for you to be better. And that will teach you how to communicate well.
I don't even think you even realize the depth of what you just said. and because when you start talking about the covenant, and the covenant first starts with God, with us. God made a covenant with mankind. And God always wanted to be relational with mankind. He wanted to walk and talk with Adam in the cool of the day. He wanted to fellowship and talk with him. And so we learn who we're supposed to be. She said earlier, identity. We learn our identity from our original creator. And his identity was that he wanted to show love and spread love to humanity. And so we should want to show love and spread love through our communication with our spouse. And so if our communication is not in a way that it seems loving, because there's never a time when I talk to God, Coach Tammy, or I go before God, that I don't feel loved. Even if he needs to correct me about something that I did, he corrects me in a loving way. He's a loving father. And his correction is for love, because he wants me to go a better way, a better path of my life, because his ways are higher than my ways. His thoughts are higher than my thoughts. He knows what's best for me better than I know for myself. That's the way communication should be in our relationship. And we're never going to get that unless we really get to know this God of the Bible and his nature and his character. And then we learn to develop his characteristics. I should be a lot like God. And I can tell you, for a majority of my relationship, she would look at me and she was like, "You're not being like God right now." You know what I'm saying? And so I need to be like God and not like self.
Yeah, that's good, because she's pointing out to you in the moment so that you can have the self-awareness. And so I want to talk a little bit about that, because a lot of people don't have that self-awareness. What does that disconnection actually look like for someone who is not biblically grounded? Like they have some level of word, but they're not there yet. So what is disconnection, or where can they look for like early signs to begin to know, like, hey, something is off here with the communication?
I would say one of the things I would say is that the thoughts that you're having in your head, the thoughts that are always speaking to you. And so when you're around that person and you're talking or whatever, are you having a lot of negative thoughts? Are you having a lot of thoughts that are saying, "Oh, here she go again. Oh, here he goes again. See, I knew it." I mean, there's more going on in our thoughts than oftentimes is coming out of our mouth. And then when you have a communication and you walk away from that person, do you have negative thoughts going in? Do you feel good about that person, about the conversation? Or are you walking away saying, "Man, is he ever going to change? Is she ever going to change? I can't stand." It's all this stuff going on. If that's going on in your head and your thoughts, then red alert, you got a big problem, and you need to hop on it now, because those thoughts are heading you for the D word.
Yeah, because they start off like the little foxes. They start out small, and it's like if you go and you watch them spin cotton candy, it starts out with that little white stick, and then you see it, and the next thing you know, your eyes is getting big, because now it has become so huge. No problem starts out normally big. It's over time, like you always say, little bites, little things that just come and it just gnaw at you over time. And then once it gets to that place, now you have resentment, you have bitterness, you have unforgiveness, you have all of these things now that are deep rooted that you almost need a miracle to get rid of. And people don't even know it's happening. They just know they feel yuck, you know, because nobody's talking about their real thoughts, their real feelings. They stuffed them for years. And then next thing you know, is what happened to Tom and Nancy. Oh, you didn't know? They got a divorce. For what? It was over time of all of those things that were happening. And if you say that you are a believer, then you should have something in place where you have a quiet time with God. Any believer who can go for a whole week without reading their word, you're not going to get there. They had a study that came out that if you don't at least read at least 4 times out of the week, you're really not getting a whole lot. And so there's different things that you have to put in place, and you have to train your flesh and train yourself intentionally that this is what we do as believers. And if you do those things, God will speak to you.
Yeah. Can I say one more thing on that too?
Absolutely.
I think one of the biggest problems we have is that when we have some conflict in our communication, our minds automatically blame the other person. And when we automatically blame them, in our minds and our thoughts say, man, if he wouldn't say that, if she didn't say it like that, or there she goes, she looked at me like, we always blame them. If we could learn to focus and intentionally look at ourselves and say, what could I have done different? What could I have said different? How could I have been different in that? If we can focus inward on ourselves and not outward, then we can start now going down the road to helping ourselves and getting better and training ourselves. But as long as I'm blaming her, then I don't never have to work on myself, because I'm not the problem. She the problem. I remember a long time ago, I said, you know what? It sure seems funny to me that everybody else likes me, but you're the only one got a problem with me. But it wasn't that everybody else didn't have a problem with me. Is that I wasn't married to nobody else, and they didn't have to tell me my problem. They could just go their own direction or whatever. But she had to live with me forever, as we say, until I murder you. I mean, until death do us part. I'm picking up the Bible sometime when all that social media. It's until death do we part, not until I kill you. Let's get that straight. Let's put that on the record. Don't be making no little snippet shorts on that from the lover. But if we're going to be together forever, then if I have to figure out, how can I be different? How can I be better? Not just say it's all her and her say it's all me.
Because he would come in and be like, no, I didn't, and make it like it's me. I'll be like, wow, here you go, Adam. I would say that. Here you go, Adam. Just like Adam blaming Eve for not doing your part is always, and he'd be like, what?
Lord, if you didn't give me her, I wouldn't be having these problems. It's your fault. Right?
That is funny. I'm gonna let AI clip it, okay? But one of the things, I mean, that's so good. It's so good. It's so good. But one of the things that I did hear, right, is that we didn't say directly, but people are not praying. You said it earlier, intimacy. And prayer is communication. It's communication first to God. And so a lot of times people are not praying with God. And so they're not communicating with their spouse. Let's talk about the importance of prayer in communication.
Wow. I didn't tell y'all this, but I'm also a pastor.
Don't ask them questions like that.
Questions like that.
Oh, he's gonna take over. It's gonna be a whole sermon.
We're about to add an hour to this podcast from this point. I got the next hour. Let me roll. Let me flow. All right. I'm gonna hold back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold back.
Yeah. I think people see prayer the wrong way. That causes them not to do it because they think they need to be somewhere to be able to say all these things. And oh my God, I run out of things to say. I don't know what to say because they think it's a way to do it. And prayer is me having a conversation with the Father that I adore and love who sits on the throne. And sometimes literally, I'm so comfortable with God in my relationship that I literally sometimes when I get started, I'll be like, you've been waiting on me to show up, right? I know, because I'm your favorite. Like, people think I'm crazy, but I really mean that. And so sometimes I write love letters to God as if he's talking to me. And after I write it all out, and then I say it out loud, it's journaling, it's praying, it's communicating, and then allowing him to speak to you. Some people are uncomfortable in silence and sitting still long enough to hear what God want to say back to them. Like he always say, if we were in a relationship and he was the only one talking, and then now it's my turn, it's like, cut that. I get back to you later. Nobody want to be in a relationship like that. But that's what we do to God. We show up, say all of these sophisticated words and these things, and then we done. And we don't have a clue the direction that God wants us to go in, because we didn't sit still long enough to listen. And sometimes you should just show up and say nothing and just say, I am here wanting nothing. I just want you to communicate with me. And so there's so many things, and I pretty much journal almost every day. I write my prayers out and then I say them sometimes, because when you take pen to paper, you don't have all of the distractions. Oh, you need to cook. Oh, did you get that? Did you do this? And I have journals on my phone. And so there's so many ways, and so many believers don't pray because they think that there's a ritual, or it's this, I need to pray for an hour. I need to pray for 4 hours to be effective. That's not the case. Communicate with your Father. And a lot of times it's difficult because we never had those relationships with our natural parents to be able to do that relationship with our daddy, And so it makes it difficult for some people, but it's mandatory. It's mandatory to build this intimacy with God, to be able to go down the path, to be able to hear from your Father say, don't talk to him like that. Don't treat him like that. Be quiet in this moment. Hold that, which is Holy Spirit. But I'm like, okay. But if not, you left to yourself, and you're going to handle it the way you think you're supposed to handle it. And that ain't the way.
Yeah. And what do we do with that part that says pray without ceasing? You see, so that means the lines of communication for prayer between us and the Father should be open at all times. And so I should be at any time being able to ride down the street, hear my Father say something to me, or I'm thinking about him or saying something to him. I'm working or whatever. I keep those lines of communication open at all times. For a lot of people, it's just get up in the morning, get on my knees, say a prayer, or before I go to bed, now lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep, and then go on about our day. Or I pray for my food. That's not a real intimate relationship with our Heavenly Father. He wants to know us and be a part of our lives at all times. So those lines of communication to him and us, they should be open all the time. We should constantly be hearing him and constantly be speaking to him.
Yeah, we were playing ping pong yesterday, and he said something. I said, what did you say? And he said, I didn't say nothing. I said, I heard you. You said something. And he said, I was saying the scripture. I said, what is wrong with you? And it's like, we're playing ping pong. What are you doing? I was laughing so hard. I was like, so you need to remember that or something? So yeah. And to be able to say stuff like that is just crazy.
Yeah, we have fun.
That's so good. That's so good. That's so good. Because communication doesn't really have to be hard when you have a relationship with God, because essentially what you're saying is that he's going to teach you how to communicate to your spouse. And I think, really the underlying here is you got to have that relationship. You got to have that relationship.
Yeah,
how do you saying, oh no, she keeps saying stuff and just like,
but I'm like, how do you have one with you without having one with him?
Absolutely. And how can you, Coach Tammy, so many people want to have that. They want to pray, want to pray to God, have this prayer life with God when they don't even know him. They don't want to read and study about him and get to know him. They don't want, I can't know something, like there's no way I can know you from her. Let's say y'all friends and y'all get together all the time, and she tells me about you and stuff like that. I don't know you. I know about you, but I don't know you. I don't know you unless I spend time with you myself. And you can't get to know God through your pastor. you can get to know about him through your pastor, but now you got to go and you got to get to know him for yourself.
Yeah.
You got to read. The Bible says study to show yourself approved. You got to read and spend time with him for yourself. And a lot of people don't want to do that. We just want to go to him and rub him like he's a genie in a bottle. Okay, God, I need this. I need you to do this. I need you to do this. And if something don't happen, you like,
then you blame God.
You blaming God. And like, God, where were you? Oh, why you let this happen to me?
And God's saying, I don't know you like that.
That ain't no relationship. That's not. Yeah.
Big facts. I love that. And you know, this has been another repetitive theme in the conversation is distraction. We're not communicating well because we're distracted by a lot of different things. So let's talk about that.
Oh my God.
I think that if you're not intentional in the days that we're living in, it ain't gonna happen, because distractions are real and they're coming for your attention, your affection, and your intimacy. And it only belongs to one person to that degree. And so we have so many idols and so many things that we have set up as idols and don't even know it. And so your TikTok can be your idol. You see, I mean, all social media, just the things that you spend. When you look up and you go take your phone and you look back and you was on there for 5 hours, somebody else have your attention and your affection and you don't know it. And so distractions are real. And if you don't put discipline and things in place for it not to happen, it's impossible for it not to happen. And so like we just came off of that 21-day fast. Our TV didn't come on for 21 days. We did no entertainment. We did, nothing that made our flesh feel like, oh, I'm satisfied. And when you come out of that, now if I go to Facebook or go to something, I'm posting what I want to put on there. I don't even want to see all of that, because it's just like, that's just all the drama, and it's like, it'll snatch you in before you know it. And you're like, oh my God, it's 8 o'clock. Yes, 8 o'clock. And you just consumed yourself, but go into that prayer closet. You like, I've been in here 30 minutes. Oh my God, is it almost up? I gave myself an hour.
I've been in here 3 minutes.
3 minutes, time to go. You see, because the flesh don't want that. It wants you to want this. And so you have to tell your flesh what it's going to do. Because if you don't, it's going to rule you in all areas of your life. And so my thing is doing it on purpose with being intentional and set perimeters and put boundaries around my time and my life with God. I don't do what I'm going to do and then fit God in. God is the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. That time, that social media, man, it can, there's some few benefits to it, but it can be a destroyer too. Mm-hmm. It can destroy your time, as we said. It can take your attention. It can draw your flesh to things that you desire. But I can tell you, it's killing a lot of times the communication in people's relationships, because you're looking up here at this person who's putting these posts out and like, yep, your man should be like, he should make $1 million. He should cook every day. He should
give you $150,000 every time you have a baby.
He should.
I saw that post. I sent it to my husband. I was like, babe, look.
And then the man is looking at this stuff like, your woman should every night want to, and every morning want to, and then she should cook, and then she should, and then also it's like, who made us make up all these rules that every person should be like this? No, your expectation, if you're going to have an expectation on somebody, is that they would try to be like God. And that's for male and female. Now, we have our roles to play as provider and protector and priest and things like that or whatever. Yeah. But both of us are supposed to be like God. We're not supposed to be keeping a record of wrongs done. We're supposed to be patient and kind and long-suffering and merciful and full of grace and all these things. These are the natures and characteristics of our God. And he says that if that's the way we are, we're going to have a fulfilling, thriving relationship. But if I'm looking at you thinking like, you got to be like this, you got to be like that person, or you got to look like that person, I got to look like that person. What?
But I ain't gonna lie, if he would have gave me $150,000 every time I had a baby, I would have kept having them. Look.
I'll do that if
Back in the day, how many kids did they have?
when the Next Level Marriage podcast go live February 1st, if I get 1 million subscribers, then I got that. I got you, babe. I got you.
Them days is over.
Right. I love this conversation. I absolutely do. Because, we are learning how to communicate because we're so distracted by social media and, the posts that we're sharing. And so for here, I want to know, like, you talked about intentionality. So for couples, how should they be moving with intention, or what are some things that they can do to be intentional about communicating, within their relationship?
I can give you one thing, and then I'll let her roll with this. And this is going to sound like a planned, shameless plug, but it's not. There is this book, this devotional, marriage devotional, relationship devotional, written by this lady named Dr. Angel Byrd. And it is called The Next Level Marriage. You can go on all your platforms and get
60-day marriage devotional.
It's a 60-day marriage devotional. And when I say the level of intensity of the communication that you need to have to do this devotional together, because it guides you each day in certain areas of your communication. And then it gives you questions that you need to ask each other and have conversations.
You have to do it
communicate
together.
about. You have to do it together. This is not just a book for you to read on your own, a devotional between you and God. This is a devotional with you and your spouse. And I'm talking about, it is heat and it brings fire communication out of you. And it will challenge you. If your communication is not on a high level, you're going to throw the book and you're going to be like, man, I'm finished with this or whatever. And that's not a sign to run and never get back to it or whatever. That's just a sign that you need help. You guys need help. And, pages like the Marriage Lab, the Next Level Marriage Podcast, these are platforms to help you get the help that you need to move forward in your communication. But I'm serious when I say that, Coach Tammy. She wrote it. I was helping proof it. And then we tried to start doing it as a couple or whatever. We was getting into it. She was like, because I wasn't really ready. I didn't realize it, but she was like, oh my gosh, I can't. Oh my gosh, I can't. And I was like, man, forget this book. I was doing better with you before I started reading this book. Men don't pull back from that. That's what men want to do. They don't want to push through any challenging things to get to better.
Yeah.
You can't get to better unless you go through some things to weed out the trouble and the problems and the self in you. So what's some good tools or good ways you say people can head towards communication outside of buying your amazing 60-day devotional?
Well, you have to plan it. You have to make appointments with each other. And a lot of times people's like, that's too planned. You plan your TV show at 8:00. You plan, I'm going to this thing at this time. I'm showing up to watch this podcast at this time. You're doing that intentionally. So you have to now, in the distracted world we're living in, you have to be able to do that. It's like, okay, this is our time on Friday, and we won't allow anything to interrupt it. We're going to do this together. We're going to pray together at this time. And so we had to get on the same page with that, because I am not a morning person. So don't ask me to pray with you at 6 a.m. It's not going to be well, because I'm not well. And so it's like not going to happen. And so he used to use that and be like, well, you don't get up when I get up back, in the day. And I'm now where he is today. That is not even a thing. It's just like, it's going to happen, but he knows who I am, and he knows that that's not going to be healthy for me, and it's like, you want to show up to God at your best self. I'm good after 9:00, after
9:45.
Let's just say 10. And so it's like, now it's working, because he's not trying to fight that you don't get up when I get up. That can't be an excuse. And so schedule it. Some people with a bunch of kids, are these days, one kid is a bunch of kids to some people. It's like they're overwhelmed. I had 3 with no help. I'm like, what are these people doing today? They can't even watch one kid. And even with that, say if sex is a strain and it's not happening as often as you want to, you may have to schedule it. You know, with kids, you have to be able to do that. And you're going to bed at 7 because y'all know what time it is, you see. And so you have to be able to do these things intentionally and quit looking at it as that's not romantic because you scheduled it. Get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Get it done. Those 3 words are so key. Get it done, because, you know, Coach Tammy, you're asking these questions. These are great questions that you're asking. But the bottom line is, people want to get to the other side of great in a relationship easily. They want to get there with no effort.
Yeah.
They just want to pop up something on Facebook and hear something like, ta-da, we're there. Our marriage is wonderful. Our communication is great. No, it doesn't work like that. You got to figure it out. You got to put in some work. I tell people all the time, as I said, as a pastor, they're like, well, I don't read the Bible because it's hard to, you know. I said, you know what? If I offered you $500,000 a year to teach that Bible, but you got to understand it, I bet you'd figure out how to understand it then.
Mm-hmm.
You do whatever you got to do. You put in the work to get to, well, why don't you put in the work to get to understand what it takes to have a good relationship, what it takes to communicate? And as I said, watching the Marriage Lab, watching Next Level Podcast, these are great tools to help you along the path. But the bottom line is, it's up to you.
Yeah.
You got to roll up your sleeves. You got to do the work. This got to be more important than watching the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. And listen, I know a lot of people like the Chiefs, or y'all in Atlanta, you know. Well, y'all ain't had a good football team in a while, but I had to come here to bash Atlanta.
You just come from Falcons, so
I bash the Falcons. You got to put in the work, people. You gotta do the work. You can't just and leaving the person you're with and going to talk to somebody else or going to marry somebody else. That's not the easy fix. It seems like an easy fix, but you're just going to cycle back to the same thing eventually, because second relationships divorce higher than first ones. Third relationships divorce higher than the first 2. And you know what the common denominator in a first marriage, second marriage, and third marriage is? You. Mm-hmm. You're the common denominator. You haven't changed, and so you got to fix yourself.
I love this. I absolutely love this conversation. So I looked it up, Next Level Marriage. I want to bless somebody with that book. And so when we're airing this episode, you know, we're going to bless somebody with one of those devotional books, because I really do feel like somebody absolutely needs it. Okay.
Well, we're going to match you. You bless one person with, and we'll bless one person with.
Yeah.
Amen. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. We can do that. So listen, I want to talk a little bit about, you know, throughout the episode, you guys were talking about how you guys, you know, communicate your things that you don't like, right? How can someone learn how to communicate the issues that they have, the small issues that they have to their partners, their spouses well, without offending them?
That takes time. I'm not gonna lie, unless that brother showed up already dead to himself. Because if he did not, yeah. And so, like he said, fragile, that whole thing, and you come telling somebody something about themselves, it's not always easy. But I was determined that no matter the outcome, because I know he wasn't gonna ever hit me, he was never gonna cuss me out because he was a man of God. I knew certain things that I was willing, whatever the consequences, if we didn't talk for some days. Back then, I was willing to go through whatever that looked like, because I was never going to be silent, and I was never going to stuff this stuff, and I was going to say what I needed to say. I said, why would you marry someone and they take your voice away from you and you no longer can communicate? I refused, and I made sure I fought through that part of this relationship for that not to be taken from me. Even if I knew that he wasn't gonna like it, but he know now. And so over time, you have to find a better way to do it. Do you see what I'm saying? Because back in I call 20s my dumb days. And then you got your 30s, and you just be like, hey, take it or leave it. You say, you know, but no, as I develop and want to look more like God, then I have to be able to say things a little different. And I'm not showing up trying to break you or to hurt you.
There we go. That's the key.
You see what I'm saying? That's not my intention. So if it's not, then I got to find a better way to do this.
And the better way is God's way. So he says, speak the truth in love.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you don't just blurt out whatever you feel just because you feel it. You gotta pause and think before you speak and say, hey, I want to share this, but how can I share this in a way that it also makes them feel that I love them and that I care about them and I care about this relationship. I'm not coming against them. I'm trying to help us. I'm trying to help this relationship. There's a passage that talks about being slow to speak, quick to listen, slow to get angry in James. And what that is referencing is the nature and character of our God. It says, the Bible says our God, he's slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love. And so what James was doing was referencing who God is and saying that you should be like God. And so if I'm going to be like God and I need to say something, then I'm going to figure out a way to say this in a way that is not, going to, I'm just going to blurt it out and say, hey, sweetie, let me share. Can I say something to you? Whatever, I could be wrong, but this is what I felt. And then you share it and you mean love by it. But when I say that, there you go again, you always, whatever, that's not loving. That's not loving at all. And so there's a way to do something. There's a way to share whatever you need to share. And you got to learn to do that in the right way. Because I believe if you share something with somebody in the right way, they can receive it and they can listen and they can go and work on it.
And even if they don't, you still know that you did your part. Because what I said earlier, how are they going to transmit it? Are they going to feel like they're a failure? Even you said it nice. It's based on how they hear. And so if they've not done the work in certain areas of their life, you can say it as nice as you want to. They still going to hear it from a place as I'm being attacked. And so that's just a part of real life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's good. I remember a communication mistake that I made early in my marriage. I had to learn real quick, y'all. My son was what'd you say? Year one, yeah. My son was 1 and he was having a birthday party. And so we had like all our family there and my husband, and he had, they have like the mash cake for the 1-year-olds. And so my son, they put his hands in the mash cake and he started rubbing his eyes. And my husband started trying to get the icing out his eye. My son started crying. He was screaming. And I was like, you're not moving fast enough in front of all these people. I was like, are you stupid or something? Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. That right there, I was like, man, why did you say that, Tammy? Why did you say that? He did not talk to me, I think, for about 2 weeks. We had to work through it. Yeah. I thought he was going to divorce me right then and there. I had to go to God and I had to apologize and all the things. But I had to give myself grace too.
Yeah.
For the small things.
Yeah. And guess what? We have to realize in and of ourselves that humans are created in the image of God. So we shouldn't call any human stupid. Mm-hmm. Now they're doing something that seems stupid to us or seems foolish to us, but no, they're not stupid. They're not foolish. Maybe they didn't do it the way we thought they should have. Maybe they don't know God like that. Or maybe there's something, but for us to treat and call someone that God made in his image and his likeness, even if they're not acting like it, that's something that we shouldn't do. And that is just a higher level of being a follower of God. That's a higher level of knowing who he is. But so many people that we talk to concerning marriages and relationships, and so we counsel couples and things like that or whatever, they're not even shooting for that high level. So I want to applaud you even for the podcast, because a lot of people are not shooting for a high level of communication, a high level of effectiveness in a relationship. They just want something easy, and they want to hear some easy tools and tips and tricks to make this thing be smooth or whatever. But no, you got to get in the lab and you got to work through some things. You got to make yourself better. You got to be intentional about it. You just got to get it done.
I say God created marriage for another person to tell you how messed up you are.
Absolutely.
You can't see yourself on your own. Single people don't really know who they are until they get married.
Yeah, when you're single, you don't think you have no issues.
Yeah.
Because you don't want that you gotta please.
Yeah.
Because when she
I
said
love that.
stupid, I was thinking about, oh man, I probably got to repent for all the driving. All the people in my car can't hear me, but I'm like, get out of my way! You're so stupid.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I want to talk about, because I know we've been on for a while. I want to talk a little bit about intimacy real quick, and communicating intimacy needs. Like, how important is it to be able to communicate with your spouse what it is that you need regarding intimacy?
Great question. And first, I want to say that everything that we have been talking about up until this point for this first hour, if you work and do these things, that's already going to build your intimacy right off the bat. That's going to build your intimacy. And when you can communicate effectively, when your spouse knows that this relationship is not just about you, but you care about them and you're in it for them as well, those type of things build the intimacy. And now you can talk about, what you need and communicating about what you need. And when you say intimately, let's talk about this. Or are you talking about intimacy, or are you talking about intimate?
I'm talking about
intimacy.
Talking about
or are
sex?
you talking about sex?
I'm talking about sex.
Okay.
Because they're not the same.
They're not the same. This intimacy helps get to that sex. But once you get to that, then the sex is important. Now, there's like decades of differences in the sex thing as well. Because like, I know we might not look like it, but we're pushing 60. I'm 58 years old. And I already told y'all earlier that she was older than me.
I'm 58 as well.
She's still older than me. It's only about 10 months, but she's still older than me. She's my cougar. But I'm at this stage of my life or whatever that, like, after I done ate or something, I can't even think about sex. My stomach too full. My stomach too bloated. When I was in my 30s and stuff like that, it didn't matter. I could have just ate and got up from the table. It was like, let's get it on. You got to figure out what stage are you at in your life, in your body, with your health and things like that. And during those times, what is the need and how do you fulfill the need? Sometimes we can have a quickie, but every time can't be a quickie. Sometimes, you got to have, what do you like? Got to find out the positions you like. You can't be trying to do things to her because you saw them on some movie or you saw them in your pornography days or something like that. No, you got to figure out what is it that I need for this person. And I know I just slipped that in, but that is damaging a lot of sex in marriage or whatever, because people take what they see in the streets. They take what they see from these videos and stuff like this when these people are on drugs and these people are, on all these type of things, and they try to bring this into their relationships and stuff like that. That ain't God. That's not love. That's not love. Means I want to cater to her needs and to her body. I want to make her feel the enjoyment and the pleasure that this body, God created this body to feel when we get to that climax. And that is amazing. And everything we did for the last 3 minutes to get there. I mean, for the last 15 minutes. For the last 25 minutes to get there. Everything we did to get to that point was worth it. And so I got to care about them and be concerned about them. And so we got to be able to talk about that and not get our feelings
No, I'm
hurt.
laughing because when you're married, you can just say anything. But I was thinking about when a female or a male have a climax, it's like God knew how long to allow it to happen, because if not, your head would explode. You wouldn't be able to handle that for a long period of time. You see what I'm saying? It's just like crazy when you think about stuff like that. It was like, it's just the amount of time that he created it to be.
Exactly.
Because you wouldn't be able to go past that.
And then to have one at the same time, oh my God, it's just like magic. It's like the 4th of July, like fireworks is popping off or whatever. And another thing about that, Coach Tammy, is that your heart has to be for this person. Like you can't be in this relationship and you're you're thinking about other people or thinking about the way other people look or thinking about other things and all that kind of stuff. No, your heart and intention has to be for this person and to please this person. And this person has to be the focus of your desires, of your affection. And if you can do that, then this thing can be magical. I've been married to this lady for 34 years. And I tell people, people all the time, but if I'm in marriage situations or something like this, I tell all the time, I'm like, every time, man, it's magical. It's like the first time. I still remember the first time now. I shouldn't have remembered the first time because we wasn't saved. The first time, but I remember it's cold outside, snowing, that we went to the movie, and I threw a rock at your window, and you opened up the window, and I started singing, "You're my queen to be." Back in the Coming to America days, your young audience, you don't know that, but I remember that. But
that was in the 80s.
That was in the 80s, and so, but every time can be special, But then again, I say too, every time don't have to be special and magical. We also want to meet each other's needs. And I even struggle with saying needs in that sense or whatever, because what happens if something happens to one of our bodies and we can't do that? Mm-hmm. And because we say it's a need, now I got to go feel like I got to go fulfill it some other way. Mm-hmm. And make myself be okay with that. No. It's a desire that we have that we want or whatever. And God made it good for marriage. It's pleasurable and it's good, but it's not a need, because if it was a need, I'd die if I didn't get it. Mm. And so if I really needed it every 3 days, if we got mad and didn't talk for a week, I'd be dead. She got my life insurance. She going on to the next person. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't a need. I know y'all think it's a need. I'm looking at the camera. Which camera is on? Right there. Yeah, I'm looking at you. Whoever's watching, you think it's a need. It's not a need, but it is a great desire.
And God made it beautiful in marriage.
Yeah. Yes. I love it. Y'all, we've been on here for over an hour. I know we got to wrap it up. Because it's so good. It's so good. Like, we could go for another hour, but it's so good. And so for couples who are listening and who want to rebuild that communication, where should they start?
I believe that, once again, because we do marriage and family and we're marriage and family therapists, it's hard sometimes because we know it's so much more to that question. Yeah. And so if it's not been so damaging, like infidelity, man, that thing will destroy a person's relationship sometimes, no matter if you stay in it. Mm-hmm. We see people all the time, and just to watch the pain, it is unbelievable. I wish that on no human, And so it depends on where they're starting from. Mm-hmm. The level of hurt, the level of pain. But I believe that even with infidelity, God can restore anything if you're willing to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If you are saying, God, I still want this marriage, and God, I still want this man or this woman, and I am willing to obey you and to do whatever it takes in your world, in God's kingdom, for it to work, I'm willing to do it. It can work.
Yeah. And of course, it goes almost without saying, but the starting point is a relationship with your creator, with your mm-hmm. Heavenly Father.
Yeah.
Get with him and say, you created me, you know how I should work best. I want to have a relationship with you. Get in his word, find a church or a community where they believe in the Bible and the truth of the scripture. And it's not, it's not all about, emotionalism and, and all that, but they really teach the Bible and teach how you get to know God. Starts there, and then start getting you some good books and things like that to read, and watch some good podcasts. If you're going to do social media, make social media work for you. Watch some good podcasts. I keep saying it, something like the Marriage Lab, the Next Level Marriage podcast. Start watching podcasts like these, because these can help spur you on. And when you're watching them, then you'll figure out, I need help with that. And now you go get a book in that area. And, and you find books that have biblical authors and biblical backgrounds and things like that. And the books are not these books and podcasts are not to replace God in the scriptures. These are things to aid, to bring a little more light to our time to what the scriptures have had to say. But it starts with him and getting to know him. And I believe this, Coach Tammy, with all my heart. I truly believe this. If I didn't have another book, if I didn't have another podcast, if I didn't have anything else, and all I had was the Bible and a true intimate relationship with God, that if I really dove into the scriptures and really became like God, it would fix all my marriage issues. I 100% believe that.
Yeah. Yeah. And two, with us being counselors or whatever, we see people all around the world. So if somebody's even listening from here and they want to be able to set up a session, they can do that because we can do it through Zoom. The people that are in other states, we do it through Zoom. And so you don't have to do it alone. You know, somebody will come alongside of you and help you get there. And we're like that third person to hear what you both can't hear what each other are saying, you know, and to be able to guide this thing. And we have seen God do so many miracles. People who even got a divorce and called us, they are back married today. And so it's like we've only had in all of these years, 2 couples get a divorce in all of 30 years of doing this, because of the way God used us as a team to do it, where you're getting both perspectives. So if they wanted to do that, I don't know if we can give out the information or whatever. I'm not
Absolutely. Sure. I was going to ask that next, so that's fine. Go ahead and go through.
Vibrant. So when I'm saying vibrant, I'm saying VIBRANT, not, they be like, what did she say? Vibrant? No, Vibrant Life Wellness Center. They can go on there and book a session from there, or they can email us at drangel.ffm@gmail.com and to get a hold to us. And we'll be more than happy to help keep God's relationships together. That's what we were created to do. One of the things we were created
and
to
we
do.
want them to look more like God.
For sure.
And less like the world.
Yeah. So we can help them.
I love this. I absolutely love this conversation. We could have been here all day just talking about communication, but you know, I don't know how long we could draw the attention on podcasts. We'd have to break it up into a couple episodes, but thank you for joining us today. Is there anything else that you would want to leave to the viewers regarding this conversation? Or is there anything I didn't ask and you wanted to, be able to say?
Well, I would say that early on in my relationship, even though I haven't experienced infidelity or something like that, I still had my hopeless days where I wasn't mature in God like that yet, or I didn't know that I needed to die to myself, that I felt like I don't want to do this no more. This is hopeless. Like I just don't want to do the work, at times. And I just want somebody to be encouraged and know that stick with the process and you can get on the other side of this. Like you really, really can. And when you do, you're going to be like, dang, I almost gave up, so I would encourage them not to give up.
I think that's so good. Yeah. Because we're at a place where we're at, sometimes we don't think like that, but there's a place that you can get with God and a place that you can get with your spouse that you wake up every day feeling great about life. Every day. And that means that your circumstances have nothing to do with it. It doesn't matter how much money you make. It doesn't matter, what kind of house you live in, what kind of car you drive. None of that stuff matters when you have a relationship with God and a relationship with your spouse that can't nobody take away from you. Man, that's magical. Every day is magical. And you can go out and just do life and represent him and represent your family. And so if you feel like you're just in a mundane, way of life where, you can't wait till Friday and you dread Monday or, something like that or whatever. No, life can be better than that. It really can. Don't give up hope. Just dive in and get to know him and allow him to change your life. And I tell you, I wake up every day, every single day excited. I die to myself and say, God, how can I love you and love others today? And every day is joyful and meaningful.
Yeah, because you have to be careful sometime on podcasts that you get asked the questions and you give out all this incredible information and people like, yeah, they're great. Yeah, that's, that's fake. That's, the things that we hear and we get. But on the one that we doing, we tell the nitty gritty, the whole transparency that we didn't just show up here at this place. You see what I'm saying? We had to go through some stuff. and work through some stuff. And the majority of it was working on yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so this ain't been roses and glitter all the way through. But
Right.
dang, after 30 some years, I get to say finally, oh, hallelujah, that is better. It's good. You know what I'm saying? Versus 20 years ago. And I'm like, I tap out, you know? So yeah.
And I was just telling, I think I was just telling Bae this.
That's y'all cut. Yeah.
I know you got to cut.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm going to share my last story. Surrounded by these women trying to tell me when to talk. I'm not going to silence me on this podcast today. I'm getting my stuff out. I was just telling her, I was riding down the street and I was like, man, God, this is crazy. I'm like, I could have been living up this amazing life with you and this amazing marriage with her so many years ago. I just did not realize that what you meant when you said to gain your life, you got to lose it.
Mm.
That simple thing there. I didn't understand. I did not realize how much I made life about me.
Mm-hmm.
And if something didn't go the way I wanted it to go or way I foresee it or expected it, then I got disappointed or angry or whatever, or something like that. And that causes a problem. When all I had to do is flip that, deny myself, and live for you, live to love. And then now, and it's not, and people think, well, I can't do that because then what about me? What about me? I don't have to worry about me because when I live like that, other people are going to love me back.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, men, when you love your wife selfless, you think she ain't going to love you back? Come on, man. You think she ain't going to swing off the chandelier? Oh no, this is rated rated G.
Listen. Talk to the people now. Talk to the people. Tell them the truth.
You think she ain't gonna come on, man? Get real. If you love her like that, and man, she's gonna be like, come on, Dad, whatever you want, whenever you want it. I'm not making that up, am I? Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I made all that up.
I said,
oh, okay. Was it? Got me sitting up here looking like a fraud.
You see how that communication almost went left?
You see that?
Looking like a fraud.
You didn't make it up.
Oh, okay.
And he heard something different.
I just heard, no. Okay. Yeah.
No, because as a wife, as a woman, those are the things that I have been saying over time, but it had not clicked yet. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm like, you just don't understand. If you would just be consistent, if you would just be this way, you don't have to beg for anything. It's so freely given. You know, if you put yourself in that position where she feels like she's in first place, you know, outside of God, you know, and it's like they go for years not doing that. And then when they do, it's like, what? This is all it was going to, yeah. But you just didn't get it at the time that you needed to get it. So
yeah,
you had to walk it out.
And I love seeing younger men get it. I love helping coaching younger men and seeing them get it at a younger age. And I know they have many more years to enjoy the good life in their marriage and their relationship. Oh, that's a beautiful thing. I love paying it forward. I really do, Coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Talking to our slow learners today. Y'all are going to help them speed up the process.
Yeah.
Y'all are going to help them speed up the process. Listen, this conversation was beautiful. It reminds me of, you know, my parents. My parents have been married for, I think, 43 years. And my grandparents, before she passed, they were married for 70 years. Hey. And so she taught me so many different things in regards to marriage and the beauty of marriage. And so I always had this look of, okay, how do I bring God into this marriage? And so I just want that message to come across to everybody because, you know, everything that you were saying is exactly, you know, the representation of what the marriage lab is, making sure that people are understanding that God has to be first within your marriage. He has to be in order for your marriage to succeed. And a lot of people, they get the information late, you know, but all of that comes with, you know, relationship. And if you don't have one, you're going to feel like you're working hard when it doesn't really have to be. And so that's the ultimate message is build the relationship with God. And with that, he is going to strengthen your marriage. He is going to strengthen that relationship and all the things. And so I want to thank you for coming in on the podcast today and sharing so much knowledge. I can't wait to release this one. And just thank you for showing up. Is there anything else?
No, thank you for
No,
having
thank
us.
you
We
for
really
having us.
appreciate you, and
Yeah.
thank you for asking. And it was amazing.
Yeah, we enjoyed ourselves. Thank you so much. You're a great host.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for tuning into the Sex Ed for Saints podcast. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end the recording.
Finally share this book with you. Hey God, Can I is available now. Find the link in my bio to get your copy.
Hey y'all, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Now friends, if this conversation blessed you, do me a favor. Take a moment to like, leave a review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast, because you already know we need more faith-filled, real conversations like this in the world. And listen, I know you heard a gem today, something that made you pause, something that made you think, something that made you say, woo, this was for me. But friend, it might not be just for you. So go ahead and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Send it to a friend, a spouse, a sister in Christ, somebody who's been feeling stuck or silent in this area. Let's spread healing, freedom, and truth one conversation at a time. And until next time, we're going to get candid, but keep it God. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Where hearts get free, learning our bodies with holy therapy. God wrote desire with love in the mix. Sex ed for saints, Mondays are saints. This the space where hearts get free, learning our bodies with holy therapy. God wrote desire with love in the mix. Sex ed for saints, Mondays are 6. Doing it Mondays at 6. Come and sit in this love.